Oh boy. Well, it is 5 a.m. somewhere, so that means the garbage collectors are coming to take out the trash. But we won't throw you out. This is very exciting because this is going to be a Van Notes solo interview. I have an interviewee, but I'm soloing right now with just me, myself, and I. And I'm here to welcome you to your Trash Pals podcast. Normally, I have my wonderful, delightful co-host Ren, but Ren wasn't able to join tonight, so it is just me on the mic with our guest. Don't worry, this isn't going to be one of those solo podcasts where a guy just talks at you for an hour. But I am coming to you live from my scary dungeon where I'm just doing torture. No, that's not what I do. I'm coming to you from my dungeon where we do arts and crafts, and the only person that gets hurt or feels bad is when they struggle with the hot glue gun. So that's the kind of dungeon I run around here. Everyone's here to have a good time. But this dungeon is where I also record my podcast about comics, art, culture, and whatever little bits of trash I've found while picking through the garbage bin. I'm Van Notes. Again, I'm Sans Ren, R.I.P. Ren for Halloween. So the most chilling horror of all was doing a podcast without Ren, and I'm living it. But luckily, I do have a special guest here with me today. So again, it isn't going to be one of those solo podcasts. Today, I have one of my bestest friends in the whole wide world. Who is one of my bestest friends in the whole wide world? Well, it's Maddi Gonzalez. Maddi Gonzalez is a Mexican-American cartoonist and illustrator from the Rio Grande Valley. She has provided art for comic books, video games, visual novels, like the Dad one. I can't remember what the Dad one's called. That's the visual novel. Art books, toys, theatrical productions, conventions, posters, and apparel. So many apparel designs I did not know about. Maddi has been nominated for 2 Ignatz Awards for her self-published horror comic, Rhapsody, which is one of my favorite horror comics. That might come up later. But she has also just released 2 books that are definitely also going to show up in the awards. Tiffany's Griffin, which is just an absolutely wonderful middle grade graphic novel. I was so mad when it came out because middle grade graphic novels, a lot of them, because publishing is just churning them out, they're not always incredibly great. So I was so mad that Maddi managed to make a really, really good one, as well as doing a Goosebumps graphic novel with her old pal Bob Stein. They got together while hanging out at the country club, shooting golf balls across the old green. And they got together and they made themselves a little graphic novel based on The Haunted Mask. I was also mad because it was also really good, which is illegal in this country. Without further ado, to defend herself in the court of law and to rhinestone things together in my dungeon, here's Maddi Gonzalez. Yay!
Oh, okay. Am I there?
Yeah, you're here.
Okay.
You're
all right.
on
I was
the
just making
podcast
sure.
now.
Okay. Hello, everybody. Hello, viewers and listeners alike.
What were you fiddling with there?
Oh, this is my toy. This is my action figure / fashion doll of Al from Toy Story 2. It's quite rare, very expensive. Don't mind that, though. Don't mind him. Nothing to see
Is
there.
this podcast going to be just you, like, pulling things casually off your shelf and showing them off?
No,
All your food fight merch?
I was afraid there would be something scandalous, but I don't think there is this time. So I don't think so, no. Unless we have time.
I forgot. There's something that I need to wear the entire podcast.
Are you going to wear your... Oh, that's so
I'm just
good.
going to wear my haunted mask.
I do love that.
I was so excited from the Barnes.
Yeah, that was actually crazy. I've seen it a few times. I didn't know that they were going to make it or that it was going to be a promo thing at all. So I saw that for the first time, people were tagging me in pictures of it on Instagram, and I was like, "Whoa, where'd you get that? I want one." I emailed my editor, and she ended up sending me a bunch of them. You sent me one. I have that. That's that one right there. They're supposed to be masks/hand fans. I learned that. So you're supposed to, I guess, in the sunny fall we've been having, just cool yourself down with
I
a
see.
special little mask. Yeah, I saw by accident a library's Instagram reel where all of the library staff was wearing them and like crawling around like a goblin. And I commented on it. I said, "Love your masks," and they replied with the upside down smiley face emoji, and I felt really bad. I think maybe I was supposed to see it, or maybe they didn't like my joke. So that's a tale about that.
I love the idea that they didn't know who commented that, and they were just like, "Oh, why would this internet stranger say such a thing to us?"
Hey, what a freak! That's what you get for making Instagram
Freak.
reels.
Yeah, if you make an Instagram reel, you're legally allowed to let people say whatever they want to you for being so foolish.
I do agree, but I do disagree as well. I think that they should turn the internet off at a certain time every day. I think it should only run for like 5 hours a day, I think, max. Like, what else do you need it
Like
for?
8 o'clock, we shut it down.
Yeah. And play the national anthem.
Just like, yeah, it's kind of TV. TV did do a thing where it was like, you should go to bed now.
Yeah,
Like,
it was like a TV and radio broadcast thing, or they're like, "Well, that's it, no more. You're good. Go to bed."
the bar starts playing closing time.
Exactly. That's what they got to do.
Yeah, I endorse it. We'll take this to Congress now.
Yeah, they'll listen.
Whatever Congress we get, they'll be in support. Hashtag politics. Maddi, speaking of trash like politics, what trash have you been consuming this week?
Oh man, I need to check my letterbox. Hold on. I've been watching about 150,000 movies this October. Friends of mine will put them on Discord and stream. Okay, when we're saying trash, are we saying like we didn't like it, we did like it? Like what constitutes?
It can be that you liked it, but you know it's garbage. You know it's filth.
Oh, let me think. I did watch The Substance.
Oh, what's The Substance?
It is a film by a French director. It's got Demi Moore and Margaret Qualley in it, and I have been describing it as a like 3-hour long Tales from the Crypt episode. I don't want to spoil too much. I think you should look it up.
This is the one that everyone's saying is like the Clayface episode of Batman.
Maybe I haven't seen that one. I need to actually watch Batman cartoon. I keep saying I've said it for like 10 years and I've never done it. Yeah,
I think the common internet consensus is that it is like a remake of that episode, which is very funny to me.
That is funny.
Whether that's intentional or unintentional.
It was.
Would you say it's trash?
I would. I didn't think it was very good, but I thought it was fun to watch. I love when girls rule
and boys drool.
It was very funny because I watched it with a bunch of friends, and then we came home and watched Terrifier 2. Do you know what Terrifier is? Do you know about the Terrifier movie?
No. No, tell me this.
So I don't really know much about them. All I know is this. It's like a serial killer slasher horror movie series about this like clown who like goes nuts and like kills people. That's pretty much the long and short of it. But I did think it was interesting because we got home from this like movie about like women's beauty standards. We're watching Terrifier 2 and we're having this like feminist discussion over this stupid fucking clown. Oh, this stupid clown murdering like a woman in the most horrible way possible. I'm really sorry. I'm really messing up the monetization, aren't I?
No, I mean I think we're past the 5-minute mark, so the algorithms don't care anymore.
Oh, good.
You can say whatever swears you want now.
I'm so sorry. I try not to though. I try
it's after dark. It's Adult Swim now.
I try to be responsible, but I really do hate that clown. I really don't like him.
We went from Toonami to Adult Swim. It's just Fry Guy. What's his name? Frybird?
Meatball milkshake, Fryman. I think Fryman's actually
Oh, is it just... It's Fryman? Anyway, yeah, it's
so.
Aqua Teen Hunger Force time now.
Oh, that's good. Man, I don't know. I feel like this whole month has been kind of a feast of crap. I watched a lot of Tubi, like originals. Watched a lot of Tubi originals this month. That when I wake up and make my breakfast, I watch the Will and Grace 24-hour marathon channel. That's pretty. I think that counts. Does that count? Maybe?
Yes, that definitely counts.
Yay! Okay, awesome.
I think Will and Grace was one of my trashes for like several weeks when I was like in it and watching every episode. So
what do you think?
I agree.
What
it's
is
trash.
what do you think of it? I want to know from a certified LGBT plus QAIA community member. Am I allowed to say that?
Someone who holds a card.
Yes.
A faggot, as they say in France.
I would not say it. Personally.
But they do in France.
or otherwise. I don't know.
They could if they want to.
Yeah.
Do the country.
What do you think of it? Of Will and Grace, the show?
So I think it's just fine. Like,
Yeah.
it's one of those shows where like it just goes down so easy. You don't have to think that much while you watch it. It's really kind of... There are some good jokes. There's some good little one-liners, some good physical comedy. I think, what's her name? The rich one. Oh,
Karen.
I'm totally blanking right now.
Karen,
yes, she's great.
Yeah. She is.
I think
awful
she's
woman.
one of the... Yeah. She's the best character because she's so awful that anything that doesn't age well, it's just like, oh, that's so her. Whereas like the other characters who are supposed to be likable, they like all their hang-ups and all the stuff they care about that we don't care about in 2024. Like, can't remember.
The time capsule.
Will and Grace, like, really... I can't remember if that was the show that really hated fat people. I don't think.
I mean, probably. Are you thinking of Friends? They had a fat suit in Friends. I don't think they had one in Will and Grace, but maybe. I don't know. I haven't gotten to that on my random roulette of daily 24-hour marathon episodes of Will and Grace.
There was... I think they really... Did they hate bisexuals a lot?
Oh, yes. Speaking of our topic.
I just, it's in that era of, like, sitcom television where they just hate, like, people that in 2024 it's like, you can't just be that racist and sexist.
No, yeah. Like, I feel
fatphobic.
so terrible for the actress who plays, I think her name is Rosario, is Karen's, like,
yes,
cleaning lady. And she does have a lot of really funny, like, little snappy lines, but I went one day onto her Wikipedia page just to find out more about her. She had been acting for a very long time. But like she was most known for that maid character, and she said at a certain point she was like, I don't really want to play more maid characters because I think they're they're stereotypical, they're not ideal, not what I want to be doing. Do you know what one of her last roles in any film was?
No.
Would you like to know? You won't be able to guess. You would never be able to guess this in 100 years. She plays a fruit themed food mascot in the animated film Food Fight.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought that was great.
Which, like, was she...
She was like a Chiquita Banana character.
Oh, yes. Yes.
She's like just a strange... I guess she's like a bartender at one point, but then she spins around in the end and starts throwing fruit at people. I thought that was...
I remember this character.
She's a standout.
I do. I knew that it would all come to Food Fight at some point in this conversation.
Let the record show you brought it up first.
I did not bring up Will and Grace.
You did. Not Will and Grace.
But I did say Food Fight merch.
You did.
It's true. I did plan.
Which I have, but not in this room. Wait.
It's out of sight.
No, I don't. Not in this room.
Just spinning rapidly, trying to find any side of Food Fight merch.
No, because I have my plushie, and I have my Look and Find book. But I don't have anything else. I have 2 copies of the DVD because somebody mailed me one, and I bought one myself. So they're around here somewhere. But that's about it.
Plush of the squirrel?
I do. I do. Spencer, my fiance, got it for me for Valentine's Day one year.
Are those the 3 items of merch that exist, like, in all existence? Like,
There,
those, like,
some of
that they
the
produced?
yeah, it's the main character is pretty difficult to find, the dog detective, but he was made, and then they made some like the stupid little penguin, and they made a sound book. You know those like little board books with the sound buttons that you hit and
Mm,
they talk to you?
yeah.
They made one of those. Apparently, they made a junior novelization. I think it's up on Archive. I tried reading it once and I got scared. But
You got scared?
I did. I was like, I shouldn't like this is it's because they made so much merch because I think they thought at one point it was going to be this huge like Toy Story like hit. So it's like
Yeah.
it's scary. I don't know, like seeing all of that hope, I guess, in a corporate, way of speaking. It's like,
That it
oh,
all
this
got
is a
dashed on the
different
rocks.
world. Yeah, in a different world, we could be, having food fight characters run around at Universal.
Yeah.
We don't.
So many Dex Dog detectives, just running around.
Yeah.
Let's see. Well, and I've been too into Kitchen Nightmares. I'm back in a Kitchen Nightmares hole.
Oh,
I
the
so
new
it
episodes or
started
the old ones?
I watched all the new ones and now I'm going back to the old ones. And it all started because my algorithm saw me like get a little too engaged with one video. And now it's like you love Kitchen Nightmares. And it's
Yes.
true. I do love watching it.
Do you
I
get those YouTube videos that are like top 10 kitchen nightmares moments that butter my muffin, like with titles like that? I used to get those a lot.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um
I'll do it.
and now I got so many where it was like I should just watch it. Like, like it totally worked on me. And now I'm going through and watching all of it and it's so soothing. It's so Gordon Ramsay is such an interesting human, just such a weird vibe. And then the funniest thing is like in all these early seasons that were like filmed in like what 2005
Yeah.
2006 or whatever, all these women are just fawning over him as this like metrosexual foreigner, which is hilarious. They're like, oh, he does his hair, oh, he works out.
Yeah.
Like it's just like,
Yeah.
what was
I
her
always
level of
wonder if
standards then?
I always wonder if they tell him like, "Hey, do you think he's cute? Do you want to like, like fluff him up a little bit?" Like, because I think like whoever's behind the camera for shows like that, they're always like making you say stuff. But also, I wouldn't doubt if they were just unprompted on camera, like, by the way, I need to say how hot Gordon Ramsay is.
I think there was one like mom of one of the restaurant owners who was just like, it was like she's gonna jump him, like she's gonna like just this little 70-year-old woman just like, oh, Gordon, like just,
Yes!
just so
Oh my
ridiculous.
God. That's awesome.
It's also really fascinating because he has this very clear persona that he's like adopting as he's going around and he's being like, this food is garbage, this kitchen is awful, like all these things. And then you see him like when he's interacting with like a real human, him being like actually a nice guy every once in a while. And it's like, oh, like it's just so funny. I think he also swore more than
Well,
Americans were used to at that time.
I was gonna say, allegedly, like, apparently, according to the Reddit posts that I've read over the years, the TV, whatever TV channel it was on, like, told him to be really, really crazy and like throw things around and like put his arms in refrigerator, gunk and stuff like that. Because the English version is a lot more boring. That he just kind of goes around and he's sort of like, "You're stupid." Like that's kind of all he says, and then he's like throwing barrels of soup at people in the American. It's like I do think that is something we don't really have on TV anymore. Or if we do, I'm not watching it. It's just people throwing big. I'm so stuck on this one visual from Kitchen Nightmares. I don't know if you've seen it yet in your journey. He goes into a restaurant and they have like a barrel of refried beans that is like a large huge bucket, like a barrel, and he puts his arms in it, and he's like throwing it around, and it's because he's like, this, you can't eat all this. I don't know.
There's no way anyone can eat all these
Yeah,
refried
exactly.
beans. I can't wait to get there now. If I get through the entire series and this was just like a planted memory, I'm gonna be so sad that I never got old bean hands Gordon Ramsay.
It could be. The bucket is real. It might not be the size of an industrial oil barrel like I'm imagining it in my head. And maybe he doesn't put his arms in it, but he puts his hands on everything. I have a friend of mine who got over some of his like cleanliness OCD because he watched a lot of Kitchen Nightmares and was like, he's always putting his hands in stuff and he hasn't died yet.
It looks like he is holding a giant. It's like a trash bucket.
Yes, it's huge.
It's a garbage can.
Okay, yeah, right. It's enormous.
He's so mad about it. I'm so excited for this episode.
You spoiled it for yourself.
This is proof that spoilers don't matter to someone's enjoyment of the media. Because
see, but now you're gonna watch every episode and be like, God, I hope he brings out a bucket of meat.
I haven't gotten to a Mexican food restaurant yet, and it looks like this is what that
I think it might be.
So,
I think it might be.
God, there's recipes for Gordon Ramsay's bucket of beans.
I didn't know it had a fan base like that. I'm glad to be a part of it.
Yeah, Googling it, yes, there is a fan base. Oh boy. With that, I'm gonna pull my hand out of the bean bucket and open up old Jigsaw's junk drawer. Which I'm so glad you didn't believe that I did it every episode. I just keep opening up this drawer full of my garbage little games and pulling out and making my guests play them.
You're a nut.
I'm a nut. It's true. So on tonight's episode of Jigsaw's Drunk Drawer, we'll play a round of Your Pal's Trash, which will be perfect because this is the game where we try to guess each other's answers based on what we know about the other person and based on this topic. So we know too much about each other, but also so little about each other. Because I feel like we can't predict each other in most situations.
Absolutely. This is
frightening. I would never
What?
think you'd be addicted to the Will and Grace 24-hour channel. A new development.
In the morning, I hang out with my friends, Jack, Karen, Will, and Grace, and they yell at each other. I don't know.
Meet up for coffee at the local cafe. And
I'm eating my yogurt. I'm seeing what all those freaks are getting themselves into.
I feel like if we did live across from each other, I would set up a little table in front of your door and then sit at it, waiting for you to come out of your room constantly.
I've heard this from multiple people in a manner of
that they would do too?
That they want to camp on my yard and they want to come out when I come out. They want to live in my house. They want to live in my pocket. Something about me, I guess.
We all just want to be close to you.
I'm just so magnetic.
So, let's see. First question. It is Halloween themed because we just guess the answer.
Guess? Do we have like a limit?
The answer for each other, and then we reveal.
Okay.
There's no points. No points.
Oh, what? Well, what's the point of that? I want to win. All right.
Okay. Well, there's points now. You point for wanting points.
Hooray! I'm winning. Okay.
Wait, are you putting it down on a piece of paper?
It's like the newlywed game, right?
Yeah, I was just gonna say it out loud, but I like your desire for props.
That's fine. Okay. Yeah. All right. I get it.
Let's see. So, each other's favorite monster movie. What would you say is my favorite monster movie?
Like classics?
Yeah, classics,
or
new
like
classics. My guess for you is Chucky. Or like your favorite movie monster is Chucky.
Like a movie monster. Do you like American Werewolf in London? Do you like that movie? No,
There's
like naked guys in it and stuff. That's cool. That sounds really, really cruel when I say it, actually. That's not the only reason I think you'd like it, is because there's naked guy butts in it.
As the French would say, that's the kind of movie I get would like.
Not true. I like it. I think it's what I think. Look, you want to see another toy I have? I'll hide his face, but it's the little guy from Werewolf in London. It's him all messed up.
You know what? I've never seen the film, but I did.
Oh, really?
I did
It's
see
actually very
the
good.
cover in Blockbuster.
Was it scary? Did it frighten you?
No, I was strangely magnetized by it, though.
You should
But I've
watch
never
it.
seen
I
it.
recommend it genuinely, and not just as a joke about naked gay butts. Gay guy.
Gay guy butts.
Well. But no, I think maybe Bride of Chucky. Those are up there. When I think of like monster movies or horror movies, like I feel like there's so many that it's hard for me to keep. I'm not a favorites guy. Have you ever known that about me?
Yeah.
That I don't like keeping a favorite. I think my memory is too bad, and I change everything about myself every hour.
Yeah.
So okay, so then if it's not, wait, I want to keep guessing. Hold on.
Oh, okay.
Is it the original Frankenstein?
Oh no, that's very classy of you to think.
I would think that you would like that one. Okay. Is it Little Shop of Horrors?
No, I've never seen Little Shop.
What?
Yeah. All the time I've known you. I just let you filter it like for me, so I never had to watch it.
That's crazy.
All I know is
I will be having some words for you, but that is
I genuinely, like, all through college, I was like, Maddi likes this enough. I kind of get it.
I love when people say that. I love saying it about people. Well, then what is it?
Alien, the xenomorph.
Oh, I've never seen that, actually. All the way
Yeah,
through. I fell asleep last time.
It is very atmospheric. I could see how that would happen.
It's cool. I think it's really
very it's very much a vibes like movie where if you're like sleepy, you can fall asleep.
Yeah.
I understand that.
I think I was at a friend's Halloween party and they put it on and there was like warm cider and everybody was on the couch and they were projecting it on a wall and I was like, oh yeah, this is awesome. And I just didn't even watch any of the movies they played that night, I think.
That's
I should
not the ideal condition. Yeah.
What is? A really cold room?
There's some movies where like that would be the ideal condition to watch it, like Troll 2 or yeah.
Oh, I did watch the first Troll recently.
Oh.
Pretty bad, but not bad in the same way, I don't think.
Oh. I didn't even know there was a Troll one. I thought it was just a thing where they were like, oh, sequels. People like sequels or something dumb like that. Okay. I want to guess a childhood Halloween costume you had. I don't know a childhood Halloween costume you had.
I have.
But I want to guess.
As a child. Okay. Do you go first or do I go first?
You could go first if you think you got one for me.
A fire truck.
I wasn't a fire truck kid. I was a train toddler. I really like trains as a 3-year-old.
My second guess was gonna be like a safari adventurer, like in a little hat.
Oh,
that was gonna be my second.
That's very jaunty.
I feel like you to me strike me as a child who was very well read and learned, and probably you wouldn't dress up like a Paw Patrol. You know what I mean? Whatever the equivalent of Paw Patrol was at the time.
Do you know what I did 2 years in a row?
What?
The Phantom of the Opera.
Oh, that's fun. Did you sing at people? Did you have a little?
No, and I didn't really know what the Phantom of the Opera was. It just involved like wearing like a dress-up shirt and a cape and a weird little mask, and I was like, "That's cool."
That's the best. That is the best. How old were you around there? Like 10, maybe?
Oh, when did that movie come out?
Oh, like the Joel Schumacher one, like 2004, right? So you would have been like
I was 10.
Oh,
yeah, 10, 11. So, yeah, 11, 12. Yeah. So, right on the money. So, it must have just been in the zeitgeist. And I was like, oh, this seems like a cool thing to be.
Yeah.
I feel like you had to have been like a kitty. No.
No.
Okay.
That was
The other
one of my siblings was a cat a few times, and like cat variations, like a cat ninja, cat Jedi, things like that. Not me.
So I was thinking like 4-year-old Maddie would be like a cat or something like that. You had to have been a Disney princess at some point, right?
Not to my memory. I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
Actually, when I was very young, my mom and my grandma would make me and my sister costumes, so we'd be very like kind of sort of generic stuff. One year we were little clowns. We were funny little clowns. One year I was the devil.
Oh.
I think I was like 6. Well, I was like a cute little girl devil. I had like a sparkly cape. I still remember like feeling the texture of it. It was like a stretchy fabric with sequins. I had a big like pitchfork. What do you call the devil's fork?
A pitchfork.
Spear.
You got it.
Yeah. Okay. I like little horns. Yeah. That's what I was thinking. I was Hermione for like 18 years straight because it was really easy.
That tracks.
Yeah, before, I want to say this was before, it was before.
Yes.
Not anymore. But it's
in the before times.
In the before times, yeah. You were a little girl with curly hair.
Yeah.
And that was like, it was easy.
You were quirky.
Yeah, I was a little know-it-all, so it worked.
You could find a stick.
Exactly. Yes. See, that was the fun part. Finding a wand or a stick. I think the costume, my mom also helped me make it. It was like a long black dress that we found that we just cut down the front to make a robe, and I would just wear like clothes underneath it. Like it was very very simple, but I wore that until it got too short for me. So that was several years in a row I was Hermione. Can't remember anything else. I think I was a pumpkin when I was a baby, like a baby.
Oh, that would have been, yeah, I should have guessed. Every baby's
would have been an easy point. Yeah.
Shoot. You so far are in the lead with 1 point for proposing that we have points. Okay. I'm not going to do the ones I know, but what roles have you had in plays/musicals?
I don't know enough of them to guess.
Plays / musicals?
Have you been in a Shakespeare?
No. We never got to do Shakespeare because it was too advanced for us.
Have you been in Guys and Dolls?
Nope.
Have you been the Music Man?
No.
Have you been a Fiddler?
I love Fiddler on the Roof.
I'm out of ideas.
No.
I'm out of ideas.
There's no more musicals. There's Guys and Dolls, Fiddler on the Roof, Shakespeare, Music Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
I don't actually know any of your theater background. I feel like I'm one to never shut up about my like 1 or 2 years in community theater, but I feel like I haven't heard an equivalent amount of yapping from you about it.
You were in Little Shop, right? You were the gal.
Yeah, in high school I was one of the street girls.
Gotcha. And were you in Grease?
No.
No, you were never in Grease.
No, I was in a production of Chicago. Oh shit!
That's right.
Yeah. I ruined it. I think you already knew that. Though, I thought.
Yeah, I did know you were in Chicago.
Yeah, you already knew that one, so that doesn't count. I cussed for no reason. Take my point away.
What role? Yeah. Let's see if I can guess which role you were in Chicago.
Yeah. Go for it.
You were one of the sexy ladies in the jail, right? But I'm trying to remember which one you were. Well, obviously you killed your husband. You were one of them.
I'll do it again.
Was there a toaster one? No. There was not a death by toaster one.
Yeah, Pop, Six, Squish, Cicero, Lipshits. Those are them. There's bubblegum.
You were Lipshits, right?
Chicken bone. What? Baby? I don't remember. I didn't like that. I won't be too. But I thought that production was Interesting. I played He Saw Himself as Alive and I Saw Him Dead. That was the line that I had to say every night. I think it was they thought it was really funny that they cast me as the artist character, I think was the joke there. So if that's the one.
And you were spicy about it?
No, I actually, the funny thing about that production, I found out I was the understudy for a different role the night that we opened. I think that was the funniest thing about that production that I've never experienced before in my life, which is great.
Where you didn't know you were an understudy?
No, nobody told me until I saw it in the program opening night. I thought that was great. But
that's wild.
Yeah, I haven't done a lot more community theater since all the way back then, but I would like to do more someday. I feel like I'm old enough to maybe play like a grandmother or like a corpse now. So that's good.
Let's see. I'm trying to remember. Can't remember if I was in Greece. I was in a play called Nifty Fifties, which is a jukebox musical. And I was also in a play called Back to the 80s, which is a jukebox musical for
It's put on by a church? Oh.
No, just ran a community theater for kiddos kind of thing. It was one of those things where it was like no kid was cut, and so there was like 100 kids involved.
Yeah.
There was more kids on stage than in the crowd a lot of the time.
That's awesome. That's great.
And one of my signature performances was I was the wizard in The Wizard of Oz.
Oh!
They put up the sheet and then they projected my shadow onto the sheet. And so there's a bunch of pictures of me like this, just crossing my arms and smiling with a little hat on.
That's awesome.
I was Renfield in Dracula. That's one of that was good. I got to be crazy.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Foreshadowing. Foreshadowing. What a delightful conversation. These normally don't come out of this segment. Normally it's people just being punished for accepting to come onto a podcast. So we have to get into our main topic though. So I will close Jigsaw's junk drawer. Let's just dive right into season 2, episode 5 of Glee. The Rocky Horror Glee Show.
Is this one of those like where we're gonna have to like do a synopsis of the whole episode and like tell everybody what Glee is and what the impact was? Okay, cool.
No, I can't just do an intro and just be like, yeah, so it's an episode of Glee where the kids put on a performance of Rocky Horror and it goes disastrously long. Wrong. There's your synopsis. That's all you need.
Long and wrong, I'd say. Yeah, pretty much. I was looking up stuff about this episode because the reason that I chose it for this podcast, it was the first time I had like saturated in Rocky Horror-ness like at all because I was in theater in high school. Yeah, I used to lie about this, but I'm not anymore.
Did you have to like backwards go from the episode to Rocky Horror like you hadn't encountered Rocky Horror before? Oh, okay.
Yeah, so what happened was I was in high school theater. All of us watched Glee every single time it aired because it was airing when I was in high school. And then that episode came out in like kind of October, in the middle of like what, 2011, 2012, something like that. 2010? I don't remember.
And let's get a date fact check.
Yeah, go ahead. I was definitely in school.
This would have been October 26th, a Halloween episode of 2010.
2010.
So sophomore year.
Yep. So I was a sophomore in high school. It came out and I got really obsessed with it because I thought it was so weird. I was like, this is the weirdest thing I've ever seen in my whole entire life. And I remember a friend of mine who went on to be a theater person now and is in a lot of like tours and stuff. Very cool. Found out that they were doing a Rocky Horror viewing, like is custom, like throwing stuff like that, locally. Went to that, saw the movie there with the shadow cast, and then for a time I was super obsessed with the whole thing. I went onto like forums and websites that like cataloged and archived all of the different productions of the show, of the play, that people have put on over the years, like officially, unofficially, internationally, stuff like that. So I was really in it for a little while, and I can't say that I'm super crazy about it now as a piece of media, but I have a little fondness for it. I think it's unique and silly. This episode is really weird. It's really not. I like. It's so easy to say that Glee is like a weird time capsule of strange stuff, but it's hard to put people in the mindset and like tell them. And I've had to for younger people before. Be like, look, this was on TV. It was kind of a big deal. It was like queer representation for a little bit. Like it was at a certain like parts of life, it was kind of all you had.
Yeah.
But it was also just it's just tremendously terrible. But I don't know. It's the premise of this episode starts off with a Glee teacher. His ex, were they dating yet?
No, I think it was always will they, won't they, the first season, and then she ends up with this dentist guy,
Yes.
I believe.
The Glee teacher's object of affection, who is a school counselor, is dating another man.
Because in the way the whole first season.
Yes. And the Glee teacher, Mr. Schuster, is like, oh no, I need to make her pay more attention to me. I'm going to put on her favorite musical, apparently, which is Rocky Horror. And I'm going to put it on with my 15-year-old students so that I can get this adult woman to pay attention.
Also, it's not like it was like her all-time favorite of like her entire life. It was like, I just watched this at a theater like last week. And like,
yeah. She was like, oh, I think it's really cool. And he goes, oh, what a coincidence. We're putting it on in the Glee club. And to that character's credit, she's like, oh, that's weird that you're doing that with our students. Isn't that a little strange? I found out while researching the episode that originally in the script, they were going to have her boyfriend, the dentist, played by John Stamos. They were going to have him play Frankenfurter in the episode, like textually. And the director of the episode, Adam, that's like, we shouldn't do that. That's a little weird. Isn't that a little weird? Which striking to me, because they end up having Mr. Schuster play Rocky, who is equally a sexually charged character in Rocky Horror. Evil character, I think. Top 10 most evil characters on television. Probably not. I don't know. I don't watch a lot of TV.
Will Schuster?
Yeah, I think so. Maybe not.
I remember when I got to the finale of Glee and the entire episode was just like, Mr. Schuster was such a great guy. He changed so many lives. He was such an inspiration. And I was like, really? Really? Like, and then I watched this episode, which is just like filled with like Title IX violations. Like, if you work in a school setting, it's like, everything here is like fireable. Like you could be fired for literally any of the things he's doing. Like,
I mean, for one, putting on a show like that as a high school is, I'm sure it's been done. It's you might not be able to do it, which they do address in the episode. They have like there's a whole side plot with Jane Lynch's character, Sue Sylvester, where she's trying to take the Glee Club apart from the inside by doing an expose for a news station so that she can get a daytime TV Emmy. So they kind of like knew, and they were playing off of that a little, but they still have oh my god, like what's that one? There's that one bit where they have like characters, teen boys walking around in their underwear down the hallways in the middle of the school day, which, you know, it's just silly. And when you're watching that in high school, you're like, oh wow, like I can't believe that teen boy is doing that. And now I'm watching that and like it's a 33-year-old man like walking down a high school hallway being like, no, Mr. Schuster, I feel bad about myself.
I think the other thing about Glee that the youth might not understand is at the time, like, I feel like we we were a bunch of like weird little queer theater kids, and it was aspirational, or it was like,
Yeah.
wow, I wish I could be an adult and like sing like at the drop of a hat, or like I wish my high school would do a musical in a week.
Oh yeah.
Which is the most insane thing ever, is all these musicals like happen in a week's time. It's like, this is insane.
Yeah, I mean, my school didn't have a show choir or a glee club until after that show came out, and a bunch of little singing freaks were like, "Wow, we should have one of those. That sounds awesome. We could like do backflips and we can, do all that crazy stuff and sing our little hearts out and stuff." And it was never like that. But that was like, if you have a show choir or like an active glee club like at your school, like they were fairly out of fashion at the time that it
Oh
aired.
yeah.
It was like there'd be jokes about it, like on TV, like, "Oh, what are you on the Glee Club?" And then it became like, I don't want to say cool, but it was more prominent, and probably not in a way that
We
you'd think would, yeah.
Yeah, we all wanted our high school choir to become a show choir. Like that was like,
And they didn't
we
let you.
were begging. We were begging our choir teacher to let us do like little things, like little, like twirls
Yeah,
or
yeah.
whatever. And she was like, no. Like,
No, she was smart, I think, than my
yeah.
teachers were. God, what a silly. To go back about what you were saying about how this TV show puts on these musicals in like a week. I learned that this, like, they recorded these episodes of Glee in like a matter of weeks. Like, it was very, very, very quick. So they had to learn all of this like crazy choreography and all these songs and do the professional recordings that would go on the CDs and on the radio and stuff like that. They'd have to do it all really quickly,
Mhm.
which is why there was a lot of like weird, or I assume that there are a lot of weird errors in the script, or however they were presenting the characters of Rocky Horror Show, etc. The funny thing about this episode is that it ends and the show gets canceled, because I don't remember why, actually, but their show gets canceled. I think
Will
it was a
Schuster
parent.
canceled it.
Oh,
No, he cancels it, and he's like, but we're gonna do it for ourselves.
yes! And so they have these huge sets and costumes that they like, probably in a real world, for your set to look like that in a high school, it would be thousands upon thousands of dollars. Uh,
Yeah.
but they're just like, it's okay, we can record for ourselves. And they all do the time warp and whatever. It's so funny. And
They do one
if
song.
yeah, well,
They
one
do
that
one song together.
see, you're supposed to suspend your disbelief. Glee makes it so hard to suspend your disbelief. It started in a very silly, kind of campy sort of CW sort of show, and then I assume it realized that young vulnerable people were watching and started to sort of get this very special episode kind of preachy quality to it. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
they would try to balance that a lot, and it was. Would you say it was successful? Did any episodes of Glee change your heart and make you feel?
Oh boy. I'm sure they did, but I don't want to admit it. So my background with Glee is I
Mm,
was obsessed with it. Not to the like point where I would like get on message boards or whatever, but like
mm,
I would watch every week like the episode and make sure I was watching.
yeah.
And then I would go to choir class the next day, and just talk about what happened on Glee. I got all the CDs from Walmart. This one I specifically got the Rocky Horror Glee Show CD the day it came out.
Pause. So
Yes.
then you knew something that I didn't until just an hour ago. I did not know that they recorded Planet Schmanet Janet
Oh
until I was
yes.
looking on the Glee fandom Wikipedia to make sure I didn't forget anything for this recording. It stinks, and I can say that. He's not going to hear me. That singer is not going to hear me say that it stinks. That is fine. Not very good, I think, and I'm glad that they cut it, because it was a little weird. It was a little repetitive, and Leah Michelle is screaming a lot in it, which is really like texturally it makes sense for the show, but for the musical, but for the TV show, I think it would be a little over the top.
Yeah, I'm
I didn't know you
trying to
had all those
think.
CDs. Did you? Did
I had all
you?
those.
Oh, so then you knew all the deep cuts and stuff. Did you ever go to a Glee live?
No.
Oh,
I didn't have the resources, I would say, to get that deep.
okay,
Like I
yeah.
was limited to like small town Idaho. Um, I didn't have the ability to like go to shows or like do that kind
Hmm.
of thing. I didn't have the knowledge of like fandom communities for like TV shows. I just knew about like comics fandom
Yeah.
barely. So, yeah, I forgot. Yeah, there was a recording of Damage Unit on there. So when I would listen to this CD, it would literally just be me putting on science fiction double feature, skipping to
Taste.
Sweet Transvestite,
Taste.
stopping at There's a Light over at the Frankenstein place, and
Mm.
then finishing off with Time Warp. Like
Yeah.
skipping, yeah, Damage Janet, whatever happened to Saturday Night, and Touch It, Touch It, Touch Me. Actually, I do remember listening to Touch It, Touch It, Touch Me and being like, this is a little too sexy for me. This is a little too weird sexy for me. Like,
Oh no.
uncomfortable. Like
That's
it just
awesome.
being too weird. Yeah.
Heavy. You heard a Jam Bass saying heavy sweating, and you were like, "Whoa, what does
I
that
think it
mean?"
was the I think it was the heavy petting line
She
that
doesn't say
really
heavy
I was just
petting.
like, does she not? What is
Yes,
she says
the censored version in Glee, instead of the lyrics heavy petting, she says heavy sweating, and instead of bed wetting, she says bad fretting.
yes. Okay, yes, I do remember that.
I think there are some other ones, but I don't remember. Those are the big ones though, because I know they
uh
were so silly.
as of according to Wikipedia, this EP is Glee's lowest selling one in the United States.
That's awesome. Out of all of them,
Which as of April 2011, it's
that's
160,000 copies,
wow.
which still landed it on the Billboard. For which, yeah, Glee that like landed it on the Billboard when most it would not.
Wow.
It was number 6 in the Billboard the week it came out.
What did it beat
That's
that
insane.
year or that week?
Who knows?
Oh, it doesn't
Who
say. Okay.
Yeah, it's just on the soundtrack wiki page. Yeah, anyway, I remember Rocky Horror was another thing where I didn't have access. So I didn't get to go to a live show
Yeah.
when I was in high school. But I did, so I watched it with some friends my freshman year of high school. And I was like, this is weird. I hate this. God probably doesn't like this. I shouldn't have watched that. I'm a sinner. That
Oh,
kind of
yes, yes,
mind
yes.
frame.
God,
And later, I think it was like I had the attitude of like, I'm gonna make other people watch this and they're gonna have a bad time and I'm going to punish them, I guess, or like this that sounds so vile.
that's
But
no,
like
that's
it's like
that's I think a very I guess I shouldn't say normal, but I can totally understand what you were going with that mindset.
yeah, like just being like, hey, you should watch this because it sucks. And then I'll laugh because I'll watch your face during it. And it's so weird that I'm so excited to see what your face looks like. I don't
How did
know.
that go?
Probably um great, I guess.
Yeah.
So I watched it a lot in high school. I watched it we had like this like theater room that used to be an old wrestling room that was like in disrepair, and we would do like little movie screenings in it, and we did Rocky Horror one night. Like I don't even know if it was a sanctioned like
Yeah, that wouldn't have been
school
allowed.
event. I think we were just like we let ourselves into the room because I had keys,
I was
and we
gonna say
watched a movie.
broken. Luckily, because that is so recent in history, there's a lot of forum posts that are still up from when the episode aired. So I have a bunch of them
Oh,
pulled up if you want me to read or like
please
summarize.
enlighten me.
So on the
Please.
Glee the Glee subreddit 14 years ago, episode discussion, Rocky Horror Glee Show. Everybody's calling it filler. They're all arguing about whether or not it has plot. Happy to see Britney singing. Lots of kudos for Mercedes. A lot of people saying that it was just terrible, terrible. Wicked Steve says sad. It was the first episode I could not watch. Brownie face. I think one interesting thing here is that there's already people complaining that Rachel gets every prominent role. I also found a forum on rockymusic.org, which was my favorite website in high school because it was pretty much like an archival forum slash, I guess, like resource base for everything, pretty much Rocky Horror. They're saying, what a disgrace. They're saying no high expectations. I've heard worse.
That's
my thoughts. I'm not overwhelmed, nor am I underwhelmed. I am simply whelmed. This was also in 2010, I guess, which is what you said. It was 2011 or 2010.
2010.
Okay, then yes.
Yeah, I remember. So season 2 was the season. So first season, I still think is pretty cohesive and like has a very like fixed identity. And then the second season, it's like, whoa, we have a budget. Let's go a little nuts. I feel like
they started getting more celebrities and stuff.
Yeah, and I also really the Heads Will Roll performance. I remember the like football one was just like, wow, they have like, not that I knew what a budget was, but in my head I was like, wow, this is so cool. They're really going for it. Yeah, and so it is kind of the start of Glee being, I guess, a bit more excessive.
Yeah.
But yeah, I loved this little piece of the world. I still like Rocky Horror a lot. I think I've passed the like, I don't know, that period where I was like shutting things down in my life because they were like outdated or problematic or whatever in their use of like terminology and things like that.
Right.
And now I'm just like, this is what it was at the time. I still have a good time watching this. I still like all the bops. I can still sing all the songs. I don't know. There's some people who know like all the calls and responses. Have you ever been to a Rocky show with those people where like they do not stop talking?
I actually did know quite a few of them. I remember in high school I downloaded a whole audio file of the movie's audio with a very active, punctual audience. So I would listen to that sometimes on the bus, and I would just like memorize like the timings and stuff. But very rarely do I like get to go out and watch a Rocky Horror, night. So I've never in person had that experience, but I know a few. The last time I watched it recently with a friend of mine, Sam, he knew quite a few as well. But we were watching it over Discord, so we were just kind of typing really fast.
Very different energy.
Yeah, it's not the same. But yeah, I've never. I see, the thing about that is that I went to that performance, or what do you call it? Would you call it a performance? Do you call it an event? I went to an event like that in high school. I went again once in college, and I don't remember much about it, really. I don't remember if people
did we go together.
I don't think so. I think at the time when I was at college, I went with my roommate or one of my friends' roommates. It might have been actually, but I don't know if we did.
I remember being there and they asked if there was any virgins in the audience, and I was determined not to go up.
Oh, why?
Like,
you didn't want them to spank you or make fun of you, or
yeah, probably, which is a very natural response.
Yeah, no, I think that's normal. I went up and lied because I had already been in high school, but I went up and they said that my costume was stupid.
Oh.
I had like a regular black dress and like a piece of white paper that I stapled to like a belt, and I was like, I'm magenta.
That's cute.
It was very funny. I had a full tone of those things before, so I didn't get like sad or anything. But I think if you're not super tuned into that, it would be a nightmare.
We in Boise, they do an annual like Rocky Horror drag show where they do it all with drag performers, kings and queens, and yeah, it's just the best. It's so fun. I love it.
That's awesome.
I dragged a bunch of cartoonists to it last year during Boise Comic Arts Festival, and it was a hoot and a half. So
that sounds fun.
Bought a table just to make all the cartoonists watch Rocky Horror, and there was some who were like, I don't know, I think I might be past Rocky Horror, but at the end of it, we were all just still singing the songs, throwing the bread, blowing the bubbles.
That's good. I do feel like when it comes to hateful queer media, it's personally, I think that there are much worse things out there.
Oh yeah.
But I can only say as much as I can speak for. I'm checking my notes. The director of this episode of Glee directed the Hairspray movie, directed the Rock of Ages movie, which is the only movie in my life that I've walked out on. And on the Wikipedia page, it said he was the choreographer for the movie Ants. Do you know what that means?
He did the little dances that the ants had to do.
I don't know. I haven't seen it. I don't think Ants is a very good cartoon, so I don't watch it a lot. But what do you need a choreographer for Ants? Like, what did that entail to you? I want to find out more about that so bad.
I've never seen Ants, but I assume they must do a little dance at some point.
I guess they had to choreograph it, but yeah, I don't know. Ant choreography.
When's your next Glee rewatch?
I tried actually very recently on my deadline. I'm wrapping up my third graphic novel this week, and it's actually I think it's a little too sad now.
Yeah.
Over the years, it was like, oh, it's fun. I'm gonna watch all these silly, actors do all these silly things, and then all of this like scandal and controversy and danger and tragedy started befalling all of the cast, and it just kind of it feels, I don't know. I'll revisit a few scenes and a few episodes every so often. I do have a private Spotify playlist of like, I think it's called like Glee Shame, and it's all of the songs that I like personally really like that I'll keep listening to, but I don't know. It's like too much of a bummer. Like every time you look up, there's like just a ghost looking at you, and it makes me sad.
Yeah,
so I've moved on to, I don't know, is Riverdale still on?
I don't know if Riverdale's still going. I would not be surprised if it's on like season 12 right now.
I don't really know what's like taking the place, or at least like in a similar space as this show would be, or like stuff like Riverdale, or stuff like, what do you even call this? I guess camp. In a way.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like these kinds of shows like pop up once a decade or something like that. Yeah. And then Glee's such an interesting little creature unto itself, which I think is why we were all so in love with it at the time, is because there was nothing else really like Glee. Like it was just a weird, and then there was I feel like there was a bunch of copycat shows that had nothing of substance to them, or like they hit all the wrong things. Like, didn't they try to bring Fame back? Didn't they try to do a Fame reboot at this time?
Yeah, I want to say.
Let's see. Yeah, in 2009 they tried to. Oh yeah, they had a 2009 film. And I thought they were going to do a TV show, or there was a Fame-like TV show, but nothing.
There was Smash. Really did Smash come out after Glee?
Oh, Smash. That's what it was.
But that wasn't for teens either. I mean, I guess Glee ostensibly was also not for teens. It was not really for anyone, I think. But it gained like a huge...
this wasn't what I was thinking.
Oh, not Smash?
No, there was another, like, we are at arts school or something like that.
This was a thing. Oh, I mean, wait. Well, maybe not.
It did inspire. What's the show that was it, like a Nickelodeon show? The one Ariana was on.
Cat something. No, Victorious.
Oh, Victorious. Yeah, it did inspire Victorious.
Really?
They're all at an arts high school, aren't they?
Yeah, I think, because they all like sing and dance and have puppets and things. This says that there was
Hollywood
going.
Arts.
Let's see, 2009 Fame movie, 1980 Fame movie. Yeah, I guess they do. I think they have been trying to do that for a while.
Yeah, I feel like there was vaguely a show that was more Glee-ish, like blatantly, like kind of like, oh, this is. Oh, and I guess Crazy Ex-Girlfriend came out of this vibe too. Of we're gonna do a musical funny show, and it's gonna be
that one
quirky.
was good. That one was good. Unfortunately,
that one was good.
There was Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist or Zoe's Extra Unbreakable Playlist. I don't know. There was one like that. And
you know what?
I was like, I don't want to do that.
Yeah, you know what show led right into this was Ugly Betty, which I always forget.
Oh, I never watched any of that actually. I know there's a bunch of
I feel like it was the like immediate precursor of like quirky, like you should identify with this character who's like very Rachel Berry type. Well, Rachel Berry at the beginning when she's a little more endearing. Before she also like Will Schuester becomes a total monster. But
yeah, Glee went on for way too long. It got sillier and sillier.
You know what I think every time I watch an episode of Glee now is I'm always just like Sue Sylvester was right the entire time. I thought she was the villain. She was meant to be the villain, but she is 90% of the time right about the situation.
It is funny that they do make her this very abrasive character who will eventually be like, you can't do this, Mr. Schuester. This is bad for children's development. And they play it off a little sometimes, but it's always true. But then, at the same time, though, she like within the text of the show shoots little girls out of cannons. So it's like I said, that the like impossible suspension of disbelief that you're supposed to employ when you're watching the show is it. I don't know.
Anyway, Sue Sylvester was right. That's my T-shirt. That's the one I'll wear. I would like a Sue Sylvester was right shirt. I would wear it.
Oh my god. That is very funny. That would be like, not to say that it would date you, but I think it would in a very funny, specific kind of way.
I would, or like just a shirt of like Sue Sylvester, like crossing her arms, like in like stark black and white, and it's like, we need to shut down the Glee Club or something like that.
God, I wonder, they used to make like a bunch of like Kohl's graphic tees and stuff for Glee with like all of them like splashing their stupid drinks at the camera and weird little like, it was because it was like 2009 2010-ish, so it had that funny like faux high school graphic design and like little sparkling stars like halftones and stuff. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like little swirls and things like that. Which made it look like it was not a like rated PG-13 plus TV show. It made it like all the merch was like they had they had, speaking of like Glee merch, they had like a Wii game. Do you remember that?
Yes.
They had a Wii game and they had like little board games and like it was nuts. The stuff doesn't like I don't know, does Heartstopper have a Wii game? Like no, they don't like merchandise stuff like that anymore, it feels like. Unless it's, I mean, I guess people just don't make a lot of merch for stuff in general.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think there's more like tie-in movies and toys to like video games now, where like the video game is the main property rather than the other way.
I'm sad they never made dolls. I feel like that was a great time for celebrity dolls, and we never got a Glee doll.
Did they?
We never got a Rachel Berry.
Did they not? They never made a Glee doll.
Can you believe no singing Rachel Berry with a little microphone you can put in her hand? No rooted hair, Finn, dress up Kurt.
This is insane.
Isn't that nuts? I was thinking about that the other day. Because they used to make celebrity dolls of all sorts of nonsense. You have like a million, like what's her name? Sharpay Evans from High School Musical.
Yeah.
But I guess those are more. No, because they had adult collector's dolls and stuff. But for some reason they were content with their board games, and I don't know. Oh, it was a CD
you
board
also
game.
I can't believe this.
What?
There's no official Glee Funko Pop.
No way, really? That actually is surprising to me.
Wait, let me fact check that. But apparently Chris Colfer loves Funko Pops. That's what I'm seeing right here.
Yeah, all of the Glee ones are custom. That's crazy.
That's incredible. Shout out to Glee for being a franchise that does not have Funko Pops.
They made it. They made it.
That's admirable. That's super admirable to me. Maddi, do you have any final thoughts on the Rocky Horror Glee Show for our beloved listeners who've gotten to essentially listen in on one of our little phone calls?
Yeah. Let me check my notes. Will Schuester is evil! Exclamation point! Exclamation point! Exclamation point! I think we got through all of my notes. We got through ants. Got the choreographer for ants. So I listened to a few of the two of the actors in the show who play the characters Tina and Artie. Those two actors have a few podcasts.
They do a podcast, right?
They did one around the time of lockdown, and they're doing one now. And I listened to their episodes to see if I would learn anything from them. And mostly it was just them kind of like this, talking to each other and talking about their like personal lives and parties that they had gone on and stuff. I thought it was weird. I was like, well, I'm not learning anything. It's just like voyeuristic in a way. Yeah, I was excited to see that there were a lot of forum posts about this episode from various, places on the internet. I think that's always great when you can have access to what people were feeling, in the actual time. It's very rare for other stuff. So that was a really fun little dive I got to do that I probably wouldn't have done otherwise.
Yeah. There's still kitchen nightmares from like Reddit posts. Like, what did you think of this episode? And I'm like, this is wild. Like, I would.
Yeah, wow.
I feel like I want to hop in years later and be like, I loved it.
Yeah, start
great.
Finding. You might be able to find like AMAs of people who were on recalls of episodes of Kitchen Nightmares. Like, asking
there's so much stuff. It's very interesting how so many of these restaurant owners have turned out to be like Trump supporters. That's an element. I have looked that up a few times now that I know it's a theme, and it's like, became huge. One of them like even ran for like city council and was just like, it was one of the pizza restaurant guys who's like, I want a crazy menu with 20 different kinds of pizza like flavor combinations. Yeah. And then you like looked it up and he ran for like city council later and was like, we need to kick immigrants out of our country. It's like, is this because the British man yelled at you?
Yeah. Gordon Ramsay's, that is nuts. I think they're making new episodes. Am I making that up?
Yeah, no, they are making new episodes as of last year. I think they did renew for season 2, if I read my Wikipedia right. So he's way chiller in the new season, but he does love to shut a kitchen down quicker. I've noticed that. Really? Like in this first season, he deals with a lot more like stuff. Now in this latest season, like he'll see some stuff and he'll just be like, we're shutting it. Like people aren't eating that. Like, whoa. At the drop of a hat, he'll shut down a kitchen. Whereas like he sees like bugs or something like that in like the first season, and he calls it exterminators, but he isn't. I think it was because there was no one in the restaurant, but he wasn't just instantly like, we're shutting it all down. No more foods being served tonight.
I always really liked when he would like order something off of the menu in that show, and then it would be like 5 straight minutes of him like kind of just mumbling to himself. It'd be like, oh great, big fat wet crust, awesome. Like just do that for like 5 minutes. I thought that might have been my favorite part.
Yeah, when you watch a supercut of those, it's so good. Maddi, do you have anything you would like to promote to our good listeners?
The Libby app. Read a book. It's free.
Audiobooks are cheating, I say.
Oh,
That's gonna become my
See, you say
People
that,
will get
like,
so mad when you say that.
oh, yeah. I think that's a fine opinion to have for yourself. But if you say that online as a definitive, I think people should like throw things at you
Oh
in real
yeah.
life. Because I think about it all the time. Like I was like, oh man, I should just like read books, like actually physically. And I do. I read a
Mhm.
lot on Libby on my phone, like text wise. Uh,
Yeah.
but I think about how I listen to audiobooks when I'm going on my daily walks and how silly I would look if I was like reading a paperback walking down my neighborhood. Like, okay,
People used to do that though.
not
Like that's
me.
the wild thing. Oh.
They used to walk around the neighborhood with a book like freaking Beauty and the Beast and
Yeah.
just sit in a park. That
I
sounds
used to
like,
do that.
I was gonna say, it sounds like you'd
But I
like walk into
remember,
traffic, but that's what people do with their phones. So,
yeah, I remember being in like Seattle or something growing up, and I saw someone holding a book while they were walking, and I was like, "That's a cool person."
yeah.
Which,
That's a nice way to think about that. I feel like I've been seeing a lot of it's like a meme of a guy like in his house, sitting in his window,
mhm.
reading a paperback, and the text is like somebody who took a sneak shot of him on Snapchat or something that says, "Bro, you're not a vibe." I think it's psychotic. I think it's a crazy thing to do. Take a picture of somebody in
You-
their own home doing a leisure activity and saying like, "Oh, you think you're a cool guy? Not a vibe, bro." I think about that every time I want to
I'm
read a book.
sure this people have mixed feelings about this, but I'm gonna just drop a controversial opinion. I don't think audiobooks are cheating, especially for
No,
people who reading physical books is difficult. I am trying to read more on the toilet and not look at my phone. I'm trying to go back to Uncle John's bathroom readers.
that's awesome.
Like
Yeah, get no,
just like
I
old crappy comics that like are gonna end up probably in my trash anyway. Like just yeah.
yeah, I will read at night before I go to bed on my Libby app.
Mm,
I will read or listen to an audiobook while I'm on my walks. I think audiobooks can be I read a lot of or listened to a lot of really stupid ones, I think, that I didn't like that were
mm,
strange and stilted. The one that changed my mind about them was the audiobook for The Exorcist, read by the author. Because he
mm.
performs it like a radio play. He acts out the dialogue and I mean, obviously, as the
Hmm.
writer, he knows exactly where to put the emphasis and where to, how to read certain stylistic parts of the text, which I would assume that, it sounds like such an obvious thing until you've, listened to a bunch of audiobooks where they are just kind of very, very flat with the affectation and don't really put that much effort in.
Yeah.
But that that one I listen to every year now. Every time it starts getting
Mm.
cold out in the fall, put on the Exorcist audiobook, walk around my neighborhood. Really good.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, reading anything good right now?
Oh, reading Agatha Christie right now. Reading a lot of Poirot.
Ooh.
Trying to do research. I really want to write a detective story, but I realize
Oh.
I don't read a lot of mysteries, so I don't know how to write one. Like it's a totally like different writing style than like a traditional like adventure or fantasy or science fiction story.
Yeah.
Um Even romances are more straightforward. But yeah, writing a mystery is really difficult.
Yeah.
Like
It
it's
feels
not
very has to be very concise. I feel very like very tight, kind of with the storytelling. No
yeah,
pulp.
but also you have to misdirect people a lot. But you have to
Yeah.
obviously misdirect them. And that's such a weird skill. Like writing a character who's suspicious is just
Hmm.
such a strange, like, I need to write this character, and it could be that they're the murderer, but they might not be the murderer. Like, that's such a weird muscle that I don't have right now. And so I'm trying to read like a bunch of Agatha Christie. The Maid by Nita Prose. Nita Prose was really good, and I'm reading the follow-up one here soon. Ross Gay, I'm reading his he's not a detective writer, but reading the Book of Delights. No, I read the Book of Delights. This one's called Inciting Joy, which is like longer essays. And they make me feel hopeful for the world. And in 2024, we all could use more of that. So,
yeah.
But
are you doing a comic or a prose piece, do you think, for the mystery?
Prose. So
I
I'm wanting to write a prose book sooner than later. So, but I was working on this one, and I'm kind of like, I gotta keep reading because I need more familiarity with like the structures of like a mystery.
Yeah.
So, but I do need to start like writing some prose to keep that like muscle going. So it's so different than like comic writing, which is you get to just leave so many things like up for interpretation. Yeah. Writing comics is easy. Anyone could do it.
Anyone can do it, and anyone does.
Yeah, like every time I write a comic, I'm like, this is cheating. This is like totally like
1 million crowds of elves stomp down the road on their horses. Draw it. Draw it now. Hurry up.
Yeah, or it's just like panel 1, there's a dog. Panel 2, he's happy.
We open on a kitchen. An egg cracks into a pan. Yeah, that's cool though. Yeah, I think that's great that you're reading a lot of stuff from the genre. I feel like a lot of stuff that I like, I guess not a lot of stuff that I read because I don't ever finish it really, but I'll start to read stuff that thinks that it's doing a brand new thing with a genre, and it's sort of like, oh, I'm doing XYZ but with a twist, and it's like just stuff that's been done in the genre 10 billion times if you've read that specific genre. So I think it's good that you're exploring all those different avenues. Read Case Closed.
The manga?
Yeah.
I love Case Closed. I haven't read one in a bajillion years.
You should. It's still going.
It'll never die.
Yeah, I think something terrible would have to happen, but yeah, it's still running. I'm trying to catch up with it since I found out it was on the Jump app or Viz app.
Oh, is it on the Jump app?
Yeah, it's on Viz.
Oh yeah, I don't have the Jump app because I know when I keep telling myself, when I finish all these books that I have lying around, then I'll get.
Yeah, that's the worst. Too much.
Meanwhile, I have 50 volumes of One Piece I still need to read that I have in the 3-in-1s.
Ooh, you got the Bible paper ones. Awesome.
I do have the Bible paper ones. I bought them all from a high school kid who's like, yeah, I want to get the like single volumes because they have all the illustrations and stuff, and the paper's thicker. I was like, I'm just here for the story.
That's also on the Shonen Jump app. I think I read the first like 700 chapters or something just on my iPad a couple years back. So it's easy. It all fits on your computer.
Chin Chow was telling me I need to read Golden Kamuy, and that is probably very likely. But so yes,
tells me I should too, but who knows?
Maddi Gonzalez endorses reading, and I say some types of reading are not real. And that comic writers are hacks. And I say cartoonists are weird. One of my other common opinions. I'm like, man, cartoonists are losers.
Oh well, if we're getting into it.
Well, to all of our listeners who got to essentially just listen to me and Maddi talking on the phone like we normally do, thank you for listening to Your Trash Pals. You can follow the podcast on all the places you follow podcasts. We got a Blue Sky now. So, yeah, follow us on that one, I guess.
Yeah, I will.
But our live Twitch and YouTube streams are hosted on Tuesdays here, and episodes go up on Mondays. You can follow Ren at ren.psd and me at Van Notes Books on all those places, including Instagram. You can support our Ko-fi at ko-fi.com/yourtrashpals. You can always write into the podcast by DMing us at any of our social platforms or emailing yourtrashpals@gmail.com, and ask us any of your questions about trash, treasure. You should.
I'm going to find out every guest, and you're going to have to add a new segment called Maddi Attacks. And I'll just attack whoever you have.
I would love it if you just had a troll account that was just like not Maddi Gonzalez, and you just said rude things about me as a host. Like,
read more red, on air.
More red, less Van. Hate that guy. He's bald.
Ooh.
Maddi, I need a number between
14.
1 and 15. 14.
Wait, why?
So so for our final little segment here, we have garbage reviews, where we give terrible, baseless reviews to universally beloved things.
What?
And at the end, I have to say 0 out of 5. It belongs in the trash.
Okay. I didn't plan for this. What are you going to do?
No, it's me. I have to.
You.
I would never put. I would never put our guests through this unless you want to try as my co-host for this episode. I think you'd like trashing this one and saying 0 out of 5. It belongs.
Go ahead. You go first. I'll see if I have any input.
Okay, so tonight's garbage review is for Ratatouille. Which is strangely a universally beloved film. Some would say Pixar's best. Okay, here I go. Let me get in the zone. Okay, here's how I feel about Ratatouille. Ratatouille is a garbage film because it's about rats. And what's a more garbage animal than a rat digging through the garbage? In the theme of Gordon Ramsay's kitchen nightmares, if Gordon found all these rats, he would shut that kitchen down. And in no universe should there be rats running all around a kitchen. The basic premise of the movie is stupid. It's very, very stupid. And it is one of those movies where it's like, we should accept these things. We should not accept rats in our kitchens. That's not something we should be comfortable with. We should not be comfortable with rats getting under our hats. We should not be comfortable with the rats opening up little restaurants and feeding grown men who are reminded of their childhood by rats making little fancy baked dishes. I would never show my child Ratatouille. I don't want them to end up a nasty internet weirdo who's making themselves into a rat or something, or they want to be controlled by a rat. And for that reason, 0 out of 5, Ratatouille belongs in the trash.
I'm picturing a real human person who exited watching Ratatouille thinking that it was a rat advocacy film. That like the central theme of Ratatouille was we need to have rats in every kitchen in America.
There's like someone sees Ratatouille and they're like, I must release rats.
Manifesto of like, I need the rats to be through this Pixar.
Well, with that, to all of our beloved listeners out there in podcast land, from my crafting dungeon to you, remember to reduce, reuse, and recycle. Yay.